Hello friends, so today's topic is going to be living in alignment. And what does that mean and how do we do it? So I think of like in yoga, we talk a lot about alignment because it's super important to have your body in the correct alignment in the right way for your particular body so that we're not going to create problems or injury or wear and tear on your body over time. So we want that proper alignment so that we can be more robust and healthier for the long term. And that's very stressed, and we talk a lot about that in yoga. And yet, just like everything in yoga, it's not just, those are just the layers. Everything's kind of a mirror. So it's not just the physical body. When you think about the physical body, if you have a tendency, something as simple, I don't know if some of you have maybe heard of like these men who have their wallets in their pocket and they sit on it for years and years and years driving or wherever. Like that, even that, something that little can create a big shift in the body because it's out of alignment for time and time. So then they can have like hip issues. And then some people will have like a knee issue when really it was like the hip that's out of alignment. So then things develop and then you need interventions or different physical therapies or something to bring everything back into alignment. So just an example of how something that seems kind of small, when we don't take care of it, can manifest into something bigger, a bigger problem down the road. And so such is the same with our mental and emotional processes. So if there's something that we're doing that's not in alignment with our true self, but we keep doing it, it will maybe at first be okay, but over time it will end up really pulling from us and becoming a problem. So we have to understand that in life, change is inevitable. Things are changing. Look at, like, we're in the middle of this COVID thing. Who the heck knows what's happening from week to week? It's like, I thought things were going to be closed for a while. Well, we decided to open up. And who knows how long that's going to last. Those are big things that they're affecting everybody mostly on the planet. So that's something that we have to be able to go with the flow and realign ourselves with, whatever that means for us. We have to have that knowing of what is kind of true, what's in our genuine, what's authentic to us first before we align with that. So we go through life and we change. Your likes, your interests today are not likely the same as they were 10 years ago. And because we have different life experiences, things happen, we learn, we grow, we evolve. And yet, how much are we actually still doing that is the same as 10 years ago? Because we may have changed, but yet there's so much of our lives that we continue to do, and that's not really in alignment with our true selves. So we have to ask ourselves, we have to be willing to ask ourselves and take a hard look in the mirror and say, like, what are we doing that doesn't feel right in my soul, in my heart, in my gut? Because the brain, when we check in with the brain, usually the brain can rationalize things. Well, I'm in this job and I'm doing this job this way because that's what I was trained to do, and I don't want to disappoint my parents, and it's the most socially acceptable thing. Whereas like if I left that to be a writer or to add in more creativity in my life, people wouldn't understand that. So we rationalize things. But if we check in with our heart or with our gut, we might realize, like, I feel so uplifted when I am painting or when I am writing or when you're doing some kind of like a creative work that might be a little more unconventional. So you feel that, you feel pulled to that. That's your alignment, that's the truth, but yet your rational brain can talk you into, no, we don't have time for that. We're just going to keep going with the to-do list that we've been doing for the last 10 years. But if you've evolved and you start seeing that stuff and then you resist it and you don't allow yourself to explore it, then that resistance can make you feel stuck. You feel like stuck in this position, relationship, mindset, role, or story, mask that we wear. You feel stuck, like you can't change it because we've put so much effort into creating it for these years. We don't know how to leave it, how to change. The mask part can be the hardest. So like if you have presented yourself, or you've learned over the lifetime that it's best for you to not cry, not show emotion, you've been said one of your strengths, one of your strengths is being strong, that you can push through anything. But yet your heart has evolved, and you've all of a sudden understood, like, well, that's not in my best interest. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm recognizing that I'm shutting down my feelings, and I'm denying a part of myself, and I actually do want to cry during certain things, or I do feel that it's okay for me to get emotional from time to time. And so you've evolved to understand that that's fully a part of who we are, is to have these different emotions and to be able to express them. But yet you feel like I have to wear this mask of strength because that's who people expect me to be. And also it can be scary to take that down and to show your emotions, because then all of a sudden, like, you're revealing a part of yourself, very vulnerable position to the world and to yourself, and you don't know how people are going to react to that. However, if we keep wearing those masks, when we know in our heart and our gut and our soul that that's not really who we are, then we are denying a huge part of ourselves. We are no longer in alignment with our truth. And it is our job to do whatever we can to be in alignment with that truth. If not, then that's where a lot of different, like, even mental health concerns can come up. Anxiety, depression, and because, again, like, just like the physical body, it's just one little thing. It doesn't seem like a big deal. Over time, that can really wear down on us and our emotional body. And like we've talked about, mind-body connection, if we're having that in our emotional body, in our mind, it can manifest physically as well. So you can have a weakened immune system. You can have different ailments that can come from that. It's all connected. And so that's why this is so important. So then to consistently make it a practice of asking yourself, where am I out of alignment? When am I doing things that I know in my heart aren't what's best for me? Another example, I'm just having these examples come to mind. You might have grown up like gossiping or talking about other people. And then all of a sudden you realize, like, I don't want to, that doesn't feel right for me. But yet you have these people, these peers, these friends that you tend to do that with, and it can be hard to break out of that because it's just kind of the role or the thing that you do. And so, like, to be able to be in alignment with that, it's like, well, I have to make a change. I have to have a hard conversation, and I have to be able to advocate for myself because that no longer feels good. So that's just another example of how, like, how it can be manifesting in our world of checking in what is in alignment with our truth and going in that direction, being brave and going in that direction, what isn't in alignment, and walking away from those things. And the more that we do it, it's such an act of self-love, but the more empowered we feel, and the more we then feel confident to show up in the world, our unique and quirky and weird and beautiful and joyful selves. Like, then we don't take things so seriously. We understand that we don't have to impress anything, because a lot of times when we take on these roles or wear these masks or have these when we're doing things out of alignment, it's mostly because we're concerned about how other people are going to perceive us, or sometimes even how we judge and perceive ourselves, which often is really because we're worried about how people will judge and see us as well. Weird how that all works. But when we start acting authentically and showing up genuinely, those things fall away. And then you just feel, it's like that the cycle turns in the opposite direction and works out in our favor, so we can fully show up. When you do that, when you align yourself with your own truth, you also give people around you permission to do the same, because you're doing it from love. So when you can tap into that, then you can explain yourself why you might be having hard conversations, or why you might be doing these changes that people aren't really used to. But you can explain it from a place from the heart, and typically people resonate with that. If they don't, then that's their own journey to kind of figure out. It's not your responsibility to figure out things for other people. Your responsibility is to live from truth and to be an example and allow other people to do the same. So there's your challenge. Where can you live more in alignment?